I still sit there at times. I'm like, I wish I should go. We should fill more stuff in. I'm constantly working against myself. Even though we're doing great, we're up. It hurts me to see a patient that can't get in within like the week. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast, we are growing our practices. We are now in a position where we're not just clinicians, we are owner operators. We're talking about being amazing owners versus extraordinary owners. What's the difference? How can you go to the next level? Closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. Thank you for the likes, the listens, the emails. We're growing. We're building offices. Optometry is still surviving and thriving. I hope that you guys are having a good start to the year. Let me know where that first quarter was. Are you up? Are you down? What can we do to make the rest of this year better? I want to know things you want to know about, and we'll go from there. Personally, at the office, we're doing well. We're up. I'm excited to add the new associate. It's one of those things that I've told you that it's forced growth. It's forcing me to get outside my comfort zone and go from there. Added some new equipment. I'll talk about that in a future episode. But we have InMode RF, the Forma I. We have OptiLight, and we have Tixel, the I and the C. I love all of those, but there is a gap in there, and we've added OptiLift. So we have all of those devices for our dry eye clinic. And one of my, the next two podcasts after this one will be focused on dry eye. I just really think that you can take the principles from dry eye and apply them to whatever you want to do, but that's something that I don't think I've spoke directly on, and I want to make sure I get that out there. If you remember now, we'll get into this week's episode, but last week we talked about being an amazing doctor versus an extraordinary doctor. How you can be the smartest person in the room, or you can be a doctor that empowers the patient, that gives them agency, makes them feel like they have been heard and they have power to control their health. And that's one of the things that I think young doctors, myself included, struggle with. We all want to be the smartest in the room because people look at our youth and think that we don't know what we're doing. Well, we're plenty smart. The thing that we don't recognize is it's not that intelligence that gets the patient to respect you and follow your treatment plans. It's the empowerment that you can give them. That'll be one of the things I work on the new associate that's starting. I'm working on for myself and the associate I have right now. But today, I want us to remember that the purpose of this year, of this podcast as it stands right now, is to develop us into the CEOs of our practices that we have to be. We want to get out of being the clinician, out of the operator stage, and being the CEO of our practice. For years, I tried to figure out what that meant. Probably 3-4 years later, I finally have an idea, and that's what I've been sharing, what I've been doing. I know that I'm just at the fringe of where I'm going to go, but I want you to be there with me. I want you to get there quicker than I did. So what I want to leave you or start off with is, yes, amazing doctors, smartest in the room, extraordinary doctors, empower the patient. But extraordinary leaders are the same thing. If you own a practice, you shouldn't just impact your patients. Your staff and your team needs to thrive. You need to make them work in an environment that plays to their strengths, that allows them to be the best they possibly can be. So what I'll tell you is the hardest thing that you're going to face, and it's the hardest thing that at least the hardest thing that I face, and it's that my job as the CEO and having other doctors is not to just perform well. Sure, I see patients and I want to do the best I can, but my main focus is to get my associate to perform at the highest level possible, to let my staff support that associate, and to let them function at the best capacity that they can. I need to create that environment that allows them to perform. And that's the rub. For 15 years, no, we'll call it 13 years. The past two have really started to get better. Probably last one, but I'll give myself a little more credit than that. I just set up the office to support me, to play to my strengths. I would pick up any loose ends, and we did really good. By myself, probably 1.3, 1.4 million in revenue. Great. But I was doing all the work. I had all the stress. If I didn't work, we didn't get paid. Great, high paying job. When you're starting off, get to that point, but you want to be more than that. You want to not have to trade time for money. So your job is not to perform anymore. It's to create environments that allow others to perform. And the mistake that you're going to make, and I'll say that I'm speaking with tongue in cheek because these are the mistakes I made. But the mistake that I made was I just wanted to turn the associate, my first one, not my second one because I'm smarter now, into a copy of myself. This is how I thrive. This is how they'll thrive. And I was catering to my strengths, which were not her strengths. And it was a little rough and rocky to start. To her credit, she trusted me. She listened to my advice. And there's some things she had to change, definitely. New environment, I think we've helped her be, change things that we've coached her up a little bit. I was pretty good at what I do, and I gave her some of those nuggets. But at the same time, I thrive on efficiency, making the decisions. I didn't realize the amount of decisions I make in a day that impacted the staff that would make them completely dependent on me to get through a schedule. Well, that skill set she's never developed. She's never had to do it. She's always been in better environments that supported her, gave her the options that she needed to have. Well, to her credit, she listened. To my credit, I did as well. We went from, and I could see 2 to 3 comps an hour. I still can. Easy peasy. Patients still connect with me. It's harder for me to work at a high level for those 3, and I'm exhausted by the end of the day, so I have adapted and adjusted. My revenue per patient went up, but she does not do that. She now has every half-hour exam slots. And you know what? She is kicking the crap out of where I was a year ago. Now, again, I've increased, but she's increased as well. And she's a better, when you look at the numbers, doctor than I was 1 year ago. When revenue per patient, stuff like that. Overall revenue, probably not as much because her capacity is her volume's down compared to what I was seeing. But she's working less hard and getting the same results. That says something, right? She doesn't have to have that volume. It opened my eyes up to realize the way I was doing stuff was very beneficial for me, but there's a better way to do it. We can all learn. So I play to her strengths. She's great at being consistent. She's amazing at connecting with the patient when she has time. When she's rushed or gets behind schedule, things not the best. So I create environments where that doesn't happen. I would rather down schedule than be behind schedule. And I told her that. I told my staff that. You know what? They don't have to work nearly as hard, and we have the same result. So I created an environment that played to her strengths. You have to figure out what the associate strengths are and cater the schedule, cater the staff, cater the systems to their needs, the things they do well, and help them out with their weaknesses. That's really hard to do because I still sit there at times and I'm like, I wish I should go. We should fill more stuff in. I'm constantly working against myself. Even though we're doing great, we're up, it hurts me to see a patient that can't get in within like the week. So I'm fitting them in, I'm double booking things, going back to my old ways when there is a better way. And again, that's why we're hiring another associate, because I know that'll force me to take a step back. I won't be able to self-sabotage by doing the things that I've always done. All right, that's forced growth. But don't make them clones of you. The other thing you can do to be a better leader is look at numbers the right way. A lot of times what I hear and what I used to do is I knew my revenue for the month. And then if we weren't doing as well as we wanted, I'd go back and I'd look back retroactively. What's going on here? Where are the problems? Now I have a weekly scorecard that I get with leading indicators. And it's not enough to just say in my meetings with, say, the optical, hey, your capture rate's low. We need to get this up. We look at it, we're trending up. We had more frame warranties this week than we did last. What are we doing differently? We're reinforcing the positive. We know the numbers. Everyone knows the numbers they're looking at. They know what we're going to talk about. We talk about them on a weekly basis. It's part of what we do and who we are. Looking at the number of charts made, all things that impact that top line revenue. I can look at my exam only rate and I know that's a leading indicator. If that's good, our revenue will be up. Whereas in the past, I'd look at lagging indicators, things that have already happened, and I have to go back and try and put the pieces together, figure out the puzzle. So looking at numbers the right way, sharing those numbers with people that impact them, and not always looking at the negative, looking at the positive and how do we do more. Also seeing growth. Use me and the other associate, my associate. Our revenue per patient has increased a ton. Our dry eye and ocular surface disease clinic has increased because of how we do things. We have better systems. We went back, took everything we did, broke it down, and rebuilt it. And the numbers show that it's worked. Right? There's a better way to do it. The numbers will guide you, but how are you looking at them? How are you sharing those numbers? If it's always a negative when you're looking at those things, people will roll their eyes and just try to get through the meeting. If you're giving them positives, if you're using, I have a optician one that is doing amazing. How do we get you or the other opticians to do the same thing? Can you share what you've done? It empowers them. Remember, this is about giving power to those around you. You are not the amazing doctor. You empower people to be great. That's the way that you can do it. And when people feel noticed, they perform better. Period. I know when I get attention, I'm like, all right, I'll go from there. I'll whenever I go to a meeting and I get around other people, I'm like, I want to be like them. Or they give me, you go to these meetings and if they're trying to sell you something, they'll talk you up. But I'm like, I want to live up to that. I perform better. Your staff's the same way. Now, here's another thing. When you're hiring this new associate, when you put them in position, I've talked to a lot of my mentors about this. You want them to outperform you. You know what that means? Sometimes you take all the hard patients. You take all the comprehensive exams. You give them the easy patients. You give them the slam dunks. You give them more chances to be successful. Because you know what you've done. You know what you've built. You will always overcome that. They don't have that past. They don't have that history. When I was talking to one of my friends in our mastermind at P3, he's like, I see someone on the schedule. I don't like that. I said, get them off my schedule and put them on my associates. And I said, hey, do you think that's really helping them? If you were the associate, would you like it that all the hard patients, you just kick off your schedule and put on theirs? I'm like, no, he wouldn't. So our job is to take the hard ones because either one, we're going to do it, or two, we can handle it. Right? But the ego comes in. I am speaking to myself here. I want to have the highest numbers. Right? Again, my goal, what I'm trying to set up is that my associates outperform me. But deep down, I want to be the best. And I always would justify that being the best as the numbers that I produced. Now, I can take a step back. I can look at what the other doctors have accomplished, how the office has grown. And I know the blood, sweat, tears, energy that it has taken to get there. But you know what? It doesn't feel as good as producing like your first time you do 1 million or you get over 1 million or you have that really good day because it's tangible, it's right in front of you. You know that you did the work and you got the result. All this other stuff is very arbitrary, if you will. Like, it wouldn't happen if you weren't there, but it's not the same. But that's your role. That's where you're not the smartest person in the room. You're the extraordinary leader that creates the environment that allows people to thrive. Are you willing to put your ego aside and let that happen? That's how great practices are built. And just remember this, that with your associates, success builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence, and confidence builds great doctors. You want great doctors working for you. I've talked to a lot of people that have bad associates that don't measure up. Yes, there are bad doctors out there, doctors that can't perform in private practice, that can't handle that pressure. But if you take a step back, have you created the environment that caters to their strengths? Or are you trying to fit a square peg into a round hole and make them be a copy of you? Now, the same thing goes with your staff. Believe it or not, they will shape the patient experience way more than you. They talk to them when they make the appointment, when they are introduced, when they get worked up. They see you for maybe 10, 15 minutes. 15 minutes is on the high end that they see you. Think about that. And then they go see your staff for optical, if there's issues, when they pick stuff up. You are a fraction of their interaction time. They will always speak highly about the doctor, but they won't come back because of a staff member. Kind of scary to think about, right? Give them power. Give their role meaning. Address the blood, sweat, and tears they put in to make your dream come true. Every patient, every person that's worked for me, there's been good ones, great ones, and there's been horrible people. But at the same time, they're why my dream is happening. Without them doing the things they do, I couldn't have this practice, the ability to have a CEO mindset. I need them to do what I need to do. I need them to have ownership of what they do. And right now I'm going through it. I have to reinforce our core values, reinforce what we stand for. And yes, I could be like, we've talked about this. Why can't you just do it? Because that's what the smartest person in the room says. Why can't you just be like me? Just understand it. Or you can create an environment that allows them to thrive. And that's putting your ego aside, putting your emotions aside, and finding a way to build them up. It's a lot easier to just have them do it your way and you handle it all. But you're not going to be as good of a business. You're not going to grow to the levels that you want. Empower your staff. And like I said, there's a million things that they do that doesn't come across your desk. You need to find out what that is, acknowledge it, thank them for it. That invisible hard work, that labor, that extra effort is what sets your office apart. Every single doctor you talk to says they are great at customer service. I'll tell you right now, we dropped the ball on things. I'm going to have a meeting on Monday about things we dropped the ball on. On Friday, when I figured this out, it's a lot more emotional. It's a lot more rage and anger. Thankfully, I have the weekend and time and wisdom to process that's not the best way to get it received and get the outcome that I want. I need them to see why I want them to do it that way and how they impact that experience. Not everyone's going to last. Not everyone's going to buy in and do it. Your job is to get them off the bus. But force is not a great persuader. It will work for a little bit, but it will not work in the long run. They need to know the why. They need to buy into the why. And it's everyone. One bad apple ruins a bunch. So make sure that you take this podcast, and whether you have an associate, great. If you don't, you will at some point put these away. Also, looking at the systems they have right now, would someone new coming in be able to do what you do? If not, create a better system now. I wish I would have. In addition, your staff, you have them, need to be empowered. They need to be recognized. They need to know that their work matters. But they need to know what they're working for, what the vision is, what your mission is, what your core values are. And if you're not reminding them what they are, they'll write their own version of it. So that's what I have. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We're to the closing thought of the episode, and I read this thing called 5 Magnetic Affirmations. I don't know if this is going to really resonate with you. It might not. But 5 things that you can say to yourself every single morning that'll give you a better outlook on life. Number 1, I can do hard things. If you're a practice owner, if you're a doctor, you can do hard things. That's 90% of why you are where you are. Like, you kept showing up and you went through the hard things. We all know people that were smarter than us that just couldn't keep showing up. That it got too hard and they quit. Not you. I am intelligent and capable of finding solutions no matter the problem. Well, you got this far, didn't you? You had a million roadblocks in your way to get to being an OD, to becoming a practice owner. Talk to anyone out there that hasn't taken that leap or won't make the jump. And they'll tell you every reason why it won't work. But not you. You are here, you have a practice, you made difficult things happen. And if you run a practice on a daily, you're finding solutions to problems that you didn't even know existed. It's talent. I'm always learning and growing. That is one of the biggest, most important affirmations for you as a human, because that means when you fail, you're learning and growing. Failure is not failure. You have 2 options now. You succeed or you learn and grow. If I told you failure wasn't, statistically possible, would you do it? Absolutely, if I'd succeed. Well, you're not going to fail, but you're going to learn and grow or you're going to succeed. Think about it that way, right? Number 4, I am loved. It is safe for me to share and receive love with others. That is more of a personal thing, but at the end of the day, when you're a doctor, people pay money to get your opinion. That's not love per se, but there's trust. People work for you. They feed their families based on a trust for you. Now, again, not necessarily love. I'm not saying that they all love you or whatnot. But when you have that kind of trust, if you do the things that we talked about to make your staff empowered, to give your associates power, allow their dreams to happen, there's something at some point in their time, they'll look back and be like, man, I am so thankful that I interacted with Dr. Smith, Dr. X, so-and-so, right? And with that, you realize that you have an impact on other people, and that radiates out of you. And if your family, if your friends can't see that and love that, they're missing out. But that's something I think that we should all embrace and know. Say it every day. And the last, I trust myself in my life. This is serving my highest good. We get up and we choose to do what we do. I have another closing thought that I'm going to put it in here and I'll elaborate more. But when you let others criticize what you do with your time, you're letting them judge your priorities. Think about that. You do the most important things you feel necessary. And just because someone else feels that's not the best use of your time, don't let them judge your priority. Trust yourself. Make it the life you want. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.